නවපෑස් සබන් සහ ක්‍රීම් ජාත්‍යන්තර ළමා රෝග පිළිබඳ විශේෂඥයන් විසින් සායනිකව තහවුරු කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
Tonight, more support. UK's Boris Johnson assures Sri Lanka's counterpart assistance in taking the country towards an export-oriented open economy. The wait is over. Litre gas to resume distribution. 50,000 domestic gas cylinders to the market from tomorrow. Heinous crime. Police arrest and detain 27-year-old suspect who confesses to the murder of the 9-year-old girl from Atalugama. Food security. Central Bank reassures commitment to ensuring availability of foreign exchange for import of essential goods. All this and much more coming up on this Monday, the 30th of May 2022.
100ක් දක්වා ඉස්සොරින් නැති 100ක් සුසිනිඳු කෙස් කලමක් ලබා දේ. Dove Anti-Dandruff.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a warm welcome. You're joining us on AdaDerana 24's English news service tonight, and I'm Indivari Amuatta. The 21st Amendment to the Constitution has become the hot topic in the country's current political sphere. Today, Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said that the 21st Amendment is introduced in order to restore political stability and to bring about economic stability eventually to the country. He said that further decisions on the 21st Amendment will be taken at the next cabinet meeting.
Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa called on the Mahanayaka of the Amarapura sect, Most Venerable Dodampahala Chandrasiri Thera this morning and briefed what the government intends to achieve by passing the 21st Amendment to the Constitution.
මේ 21 වෙනි සංශෝධනය ගෙනාවයි කියලා රටට ඩොලර් එන්නේ නැහැ කියලා ලොකු තර්කයක් යනවා. ඒක ඇත්ත. හැබැයි රටේ මේ තියෙන දේශපාලන ස්ථාවරත්වය තවදුරටත් ගියොත් ඩොලර් තියා කිසි දෙයක් එන්නේ නැහැ. පැහැදිලිවම රටේ ආර්ථිකය ගොඩනගන්න නම් දේශපාලන ස්ථාවරය ගොඩනගන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් ඒ වෙනුවෙන් තමයි අපි මේ 21 වෙනි සංශෝධනය ගෙනාවේ. ඉතින් අපි මේ සංශෝධනය ගේන්නේ ජනමත විචාරණයකට නොයා කරන්න පුළුවන් මට්ටමට විතරයි. මොකද මේ වෙලාවේ ජනමත විචාරණ තියන්න පුළුවන් වෙලාවක් නෙවෙයි.
වැරදි උපදෙස් අරගෙන කරන ක්‍රියාවන් නිසා ඉතාම දුර්වල සත්‍යයට රටපත් වෙනවා. තුන්නිකායක මහා සංඝරත්නය එකතු වෙලා ඒ වෙලාවේ කිව්වක తాවකාලික හරි කළා නම් මේ ඔච්චර විනාශයක් රටට වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකෙන් දැන් අපි කවුරුත් ඒ දුක විඳිනවා.
The minister then addressed media representatives present at the premises.
කවදනකට 21 ගේන බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
ඊළඟ සඳුදා අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේදී තීන්දුවක් ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේදී තීන්දුවක් ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
In the meantime, a meeting between President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and parliamentarians of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna to evaluate party views on the draft of the 21st Amendment commenced at the President's house in Colombo this evening.
Ajit P. Pereira of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya meanwhile called on the government to include in the draft 21st Amendment to the Constitution a provision preventing the President from holding any ministry. Addressing a media briefing today, he said the Samagi Jana Balawegaya party had agreed to the 21st Amendment subject to several other important amendments.
In a letter, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya has written 5 proposals to be included in the draft of the 21st Amendment. That includes the appointment of the Central Bank Governor, as well as other members of the monetary boards via the Constitutional Council, an appointment of a National Priorities and Evaluation Commission as an independent commission, and appointing of members to it as per the recommendation of the Constitutional Council. The letter also says that the main office bearers of the country, including the President, Prime Minister, Ministers and Members of Parliament should make declarations on their assets and liabilities, and a legal framework needs to be established to penalise them if they fail to do so. The letter also proposes to the Justice Minister to include a provision that the President cannot be in charge of any ministry, a provision that also prevailed in the 19th Amendment.
ජනාධිපතිවරයාට කිසිම අමාත්‍යාංශයක් දැරීමට නොහැකි කියලා 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනයේදී තිබුණා. අපි ඉල්ලා හිටින්නේ ජනාධිපතිවරයාට කිසිම අමාත්‍යාංශයක් දැරීමට නොහැකියි කියන ප්‍රතිපාදනය මෙම කෙටුම්පතටත් ඇතුළත් කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිවරයාටත් ඒ අදාළ වන ආකාරයට. අනාගත ජනාධිපතිතුරුන්ටත් ඒ අදාළ වන ආකාරයට. ඒ වගේම පාර්ලිමේන්තු විසුරුවා හැරීම බලය පිළිබඳ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ බහුතරයකින් යෝජනාවක් සම්මත කරගන්නට අවස්ථාව ලබා දිය යුතුයි කියලා අපි යෝජනා කරනවා. ස්ථීරෝ සමගි ජන බලවේගය 21 වෙනි සංශෝධනයට එකඟයි මේ සුළු නමුත් වැදගත් සංශෝධන වලට යටත්. ඒ වගේම රජයේ පොරොන්දු වුණා විධායක ජනාධිපති ක්‍රමය අහෝසි කිරීම සඳහා වන ගමනේ පළමු පියවර විදිහට මේ පාවිච්චි කරනවා කියලා.
A 29-year-old suspect identified as a resident of the Atulugama area in Bandaragama was arrested by police today in connection with the murder of the 9-year-old girl Fatima Ayesha. During police interrogations, the suspect had confessed to murdering the little girl. Her remains were found in a nearby swamp on Saturday. The suspect, who himself is a father of 3 daughters aged between 5 to 8 years and expecting another child, had reportedly taken part in the search operation carried out for the missing child in the Atalagoma area on Saturday.
The investigation into the murder of 9-year-old Fatima Ayesha was handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department yesterday by the police. And today, the CID arrested a 29-year-old suspect in the area of Atalugama in connection with the murder. Police had decided to question the suspect after a noticeable change in his behavior since the investigations began. The suspect had confessed to the murder of Fatima Ayesha when he was being questioned on the whereabouts of the little girl. The suspect in question had reportedly taken part in the search operations that was carried out by the police and area residents to find the missing girl. Police stated that the suspect had admitted to watching the 9-year-old child make her way home from the shop and then had taken her to the nearby swamp to rape her. However, when the child had screamed and attempted to escape, the suspect had stuffed pieces of cloth into the child's mouth in an attempt to prevent her screams and then drowned her in the marsh. According to police, the suspect has been identified as a father of 3 daughters, aged 8, 5 and 3 years, while his wife is expecting another child. It was also revealed that the suspect is related to the victim. In the meantime, the post-mortem examination on the remains of the 9-year-old girl was carried out at the Panadura Base Hospital. The 3 judicial officers that carried out the post-mortem, while confirming that the child had sustained a wound in her mouth, said that she had not been raped. The report of the post-mortem examination with the cause of death has been submitted to court. Meanwhile, the brother of the victim, who is sitting for the GC ordinary level examination this week, called for justice to be delivered to her sister. In other developments, former parliamentarian Ajit P. Pereira said that the Panadura Bar Association has decided not to represent the suspect in the case.
ඒ අපරාධකරු හඳුනා ගැනීමෙන් පසු පානදුර නීතිඥ සංගමයේ හැටියට අපි කිසිම නීතිඥවරයෙක් අපේ සමාජිකයන් ඒ අපරාධකරු වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී සිටින්නේ නැහැ.
Parents also should be very mindful of their children, irrespective of the fact that whether it's a girl or a boy. Parents should make sure that their children are safe. The parents should, from small days, educate the children on how to prevent getting abused. Maybe sexually, physically, mentally. The children should be taught in very simple terms on how to protect themselves, and also they should be very mindful when they keep their children with adults, maybe immediate family. The parents should make sure that the children are safe, and they have to be very mindful. State also should take the responsibility in protecting the children, because the children would be the adults and the human resource future of our country.
UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has assured to support Sri Lanka in overcoming the present economic challenges. This was conveyed to his Sri Lankan counterpart Ranil Wickremesinghe during a telephone conversation today. During the discussion, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has briefed the UK Premier on the situation in Sri Lanka. Boris Johnson has pledged to support Sri Lanka, especially in the fields of tackling climate change and assisting Sri Lanka in becoming an export-oriented open economy. A spokesperson from the Prime Minister's office confirmed that the conversation focused mainly on UK's assistance to convert Sri Lanka into an export-oriented open economy. Sri Lanka's Premier had briefed the UK Prime Minister on the current situation in Sri Lanka and the measures underway to bring about political and economic stability to the island nation. Boris Johnson has assured to take steps to support Sri Lanka through bilateral or multilateral channels. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe has also assured to keep close contact with the UK leadership via the Colombo High Commission on developments in Sri Lanka. Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Peiris told the World Bank that short-term financial assistance from them will be highly appreciated until long-term assistance materializes through the IMF, other international institutions and donor countries. During a meeting between the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister and the country manager of the World Bank in Sri Lanka, Chiokanda, recently the World Bank's representative has stated that they will disperse approximately $700 million to Sri Lanka within the next few months.
The World Bank country manager in Colombo, Chiokanda, called on Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Peiris on Friday at the ministry premises. Taking the current situation into account, Minister Peiris sought the assistance from the World Bank until long-term assistance materializes through the International Monetary Fund, other international institutions and donor countries. Professor Peiris had highlighted the severity of challenges in reducing the budget deficit at the forthcoming budget and added that the short-term financial assistance from the World Bank is highly appreciated until sustainable solutions are found. In response, the World Bank country manager has said that her office is working with other organizations such as the Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the UN office and encourages them to repurpose their projects to help the people of Sri Lanka at this difficult time. Chiokanda said that the World Bank will disperse approximately $700 million to Sri Lanka within the next few months.
Now, Litro gas to resume distribution tomorrow. Details after this break.
Big 3.
Welcome back to the news. Litro Gas Lanka Limited says it will resume distribution tomorrow with 50,000 domestic LP gas cylinders released to the market starting tomorrow. Accordingly, the distribution of 12.5 kilogram, 5 kilogram and 2.3 kilogram gas cylinders are expected to resume starting tomorrow. Litro said that the list of dealers with stocks has been updated on the company's official website www.litrogas.com. Today, a shipment of 3,500 metric tons of liquefied petroleum gas arrived in the country and unloading of gas stocks has already begun. Last week, Litro chairman said that a payment of $6.5 million was made for 2 shipments of LP gas with a total quantity of 7,500 metric tons. Accordingly, the first shipment of this with 3,500 metric tons of gas reached the Colombo port today. The Department of Meteorology meanwhile warns that the prevailing rainy and windy weather conditions over the island is expected to enhance slightly in the next few days. Heavy showers or thunder showers are expected in several provinces and districts of the island.
The Department of Meteorology said today that the prevailing showery and windy conditions over the island is expected to slightly enhance today and in the next few days. The department further stated that showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces, as well as in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. People are also cautioned that heavy showers above 100 millimeters may occur in some places in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Nuwara, Puttalam, Galle and Mathura districts, while several spells of showers are expected in Anuradhapura district as well. Meanwhile, strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in the western slope of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee and Hamathura districts. However, wind speeds can increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour in the sea areas off the coast extending from Puttalam to Trincomalee via Mana and Kankasanture and from Mathura to Potuville via Hambantota.
A shootout took place this morning near the Peta private bus stand in Bastion Malta, killing 1 person on the spot. According to our correspondent, the shooting had been carried out using a T-56 firearm by 2 persons who had arrived in a motorcycle. The deceased was a 30-year-old resident from Anuradhapura. Another 27-year-old who was with the deceased at the time of the shootout was also injured in the incident and admitted to the National Hospital in Colombo. It has been reported that the deceased and the injured had previously worked as security personnel at a restaurant in the area of Cinnamon Gardens. However, they have been shot while returning from court today in connection with a case of assault inside the restaurant they were employed following a non-payment of their salaries. Police teams under the supervision of the Senior Superintendent of Police in the Colombo Central area have been deployed to investigate the reason behind the shooting. The Bribery Commission filed fresh indictments against former Minister Johnston Fernando, charging him with using the employees of cooperative wholesale establishment for political activities while serving as the Minister of Cooperatives and Internal Trade. The case was filed before the Colombo High Court today. Further indictments were filed against former chairman of cooperative wholesale establishment Iraj Fernando and its former working directors Mohammed Shakir for allegedly incurring a loss to the government to the tune of 8.4 million rupees by utilizing the CWE employees outside their scope of duties between the 1st of January and the 31st of September in 2010. During the administration of the Government of Good Governance, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption filed a case with the Colombo Magistrates Court charging the trio with the same offences. However, it was later withdrawn as the written sanction of the 3 commissioners of the Bribery Commission had not been obtained before filing the case. Accordingly, the Magistrates Court had ordered to release the 3 accused from the case during the time. However, the Bribery Commission filed fresh indictments against the former minister, the former CWE chairman, and its former working director once again today, naming 45 people in total as witnesses. Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa called on officials from the Ministry of Agriculture to provide the unfarmed lands that belong to the government to the people to ensure that they are cultivated and made use of, given the impending food crisis that is expected to befall the country later this year. The President made these remarks during a discussion carried out with officials of the Ministry of Agriculture.
අපි දැන් හොයන්න ඕනේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නවලට විසඳුම්. රසායනික පොහොර පිළිබඳ යූරියා පිළිබඳව අපි ඉන්දියාව එක්ක දිගටම සම්බන්ධ වෙලා දැන් ඊයේ වෙනකොට කිව්වා තව දවස් 3කින් කොහොම හරි විසඳලා දෙන්නම් කියලා. යල්කන්නේ වුණත් අපි අතහැරලා දාන්න එපා. මොකද පුළුවන් තරම් අපි මේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න විසඳලා වැඩි අස්වැන්නක් ලබා ගන්නට කටයුතු කරන්නට ඕන. රටේ වැඩි ඉඩම් ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙන රජයටනේ. දැන් වගා කරපු නැති ඒවා වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙන රජය ආයතන. කෘෂිකර්ම දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේම ගොවි පොළවල් වලම කොච්චර තියෙනවද? ඉක්මනට මේ දෙන මිනිස්සුන්ට වගා කරන්න දැන් ඉස්සරහට අපි මේ ආහාර අඩුවක් වෙනවා කියලා මේ වගේ අයට දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් මේවට දීලා හරි වගා කරවන්න පුළුවන් නේ. වී අස්වැන්න අඩු වෙනවා නම් ඒ වෙනුවට මුං ඇට කවුපි ඊළඟ මහ අන්නේට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒව ටික ලෑස්ති කරන්න ඕන.
In its most recent efforts to support the nation during turbulent times and continuing its commitment and enriching Sri Lankan lives by expanding connectivity to every corner of the country, AdaDerana successfully concluded yet another phase of its Siu Desetama dialogue initiative recently. A signal tower was newly installed in the Madalsima area in Badulla district under the 5th phase of the initiative. Dala Gaziata has launched this program together with AdaDerana to support customers by expanding mobile signals and 4G connectivity in remote rural areas of the island. The coordination of the infrastructure of the program was conducted by AdaDerana, and the Derana Media Network is the official media partner of the program. Welcome back. Taking you to business news. Central Bank of Sri Lanka having noticed concerns among the trading community that there will be a large shortage of essential food items in the country due to restrictions on the use of open account payment terms or consignment account terms, reassured commitment to ensure the availability of foreign exchange within the banking system for the importation of essential goods, including food items. Further, central banks said that arrangements are currently in place to ensure that the restrictions imposed on payment terms would not cause shortages of essential goods, including food, in the country.
Recently, the Ministry of Finance issued import control regulations restricting the use of open account payment terms or consignment account terms subject to conditions when importing goods to Sri Lanka in a bid to improve foreign exchange liquidity in the domestic banking system. In this backdrop, the central bank says that various concerns have emerged among the trading community that there will be a large shortage of essential food items in the country due to restrictions on payment terms. However, issuing a media communique today, the central bank reassured its commitment to ensure the availability of foreign exchange within the banking system for the importation of essential goods, including food items, in the ensuing period. Further, the regulator listed out arrangements that are being worked out to ensure that the restrictions imposed on payment terms would not cause shortages of essential goods, including food items, and they would not result in any hindrances to manufacturers of export goods. Firstly, CBSL says that it is a continuous dialogue with the banking community in order to ensure the facilitation of essential goods imports, adding that restrictions imposed on payment terms and the introduction of exchange rate determination mechanism has resulted in foreign exchange inflows routing through the banking system, thereby increasing foreign exchange liquidity conditions in the system. They expect this movement to continue in the period ahead and believe such improvements in the domestic forex market and subsequent increase in liquidity conditions would help channel foreign exchange to facilitate imports of essential goods. Secondly, the central bank says it has commenced negotiations with the Trade Association and other parties who are engaged in importing essential goods, and that a preliminary assessment is being carried out with the participation of the Ministry of Trade, the Consumer Affairs Authority, and the Sri Lanka Customs to identify the availability of stocks of essential goods at present and the monthly requirement of the same in the ensuing period. Based on such findings, the central bank is to put arrangements in place to ensure imports of essential goods in required quantities and frequency, along with the existing arrangement agreed by the Government of India to utilize its line of credit to import essentials. In its list of measures, the central bank adds that the essential food commodities importers and traders associations have assured to not resort to engage in grey market activity and extended the fullest cooperation through these challenging economic conditions. Finally, the CBSL said measures have been initiated together with the Sri Lanka Customs, the Ministry of Trade and other agencies to clear imported goods that are being held at the customs, thereby minimizing costs to traders while releasing stocks to the market as a matter of priority. It is also said that measures are already in place to facilitate exporters when importing raw materials required for their exports and to utilize their export proceeds to make payments under open account payment or consignment account terms. Local suppliers who receive payment in foreign currency are also allowed to make payments under open account payment or consignment account terms.
Asian stocks in the meantime rallied today. The dollar edged lower and US Treasury yields fell amid signs that the US inflation may have peaked. China's easing of COVID-19 curbs also boosted sentiment ahead of a meeting of European Union countries to agree on Russian oil import sanctions. Now, China's Shanghai Composite Index rose 0.6% as fewer COVID cases in Beijing and Shanghai led to easing of some restrictions. Risk appetite was also supported by stimulus measures announced by Shanghai authorities to support the economy. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped 2.06% as well. Japanese shares closed at over 1 month high as machinery and technology stocks advanced on China's growth optimism and easing concerns over excessive US inflation. The Nikkei climbed 2.19, making its highest close since the 21st of April. Seoul stocks extended gains for a second straight session, and the Korean won hit over 1 month high on the back of growing appetite for risk takers on hopes for economic recovery in China. The Kospi average rallied 1.20%, with technology and auto stocks leading the surge. Taking you to international news, an aircraft operated by privately owned Tara Air in mountainous Nepal went down with 22 passengers on board during the cloudy weather conditions yesterday. The aircraft was spotted by Nepal's army earlier today and was recovered from northern Nepal after search operations that were halted overnight were resumed. Now, rescue workers in Nepal have so far recovered 20 of the 22 bodies from the crash site as they scoured the remote Himalayan mountainside scattered with the wreckage of a small plane. According to media reports, the search is still ongoing to locate the remaining passengers, with officials saying the chance of finding survivors is very slim. However, search operations have been hampered by bad weather and mountainous terrain. 4 Indians, 2 Germans and 16 Nepali nationals were reportedly on board during the crash. According to officials, the passenger plane was on a 20-minute short flight when it lost contact with air traffic control 5 minutes before it was due to land. Nepal has had a fraught record of aviation accidents, often due to its sudden weather changes and airstrips located in rocky terrains that are difficult to access. Shanghai authorities today announced an end to its 2-month-long COVID-19 lockdown, allowing the vast majority of people in China's largest city to leave their homes starting Wednesday. Shanghai is China's biggest city with a population of around 25 million and is a key financial, manufacturing and shipping hub. The lockdown has seen many of its residents lose income, struggle to find enough food and cope mentally with prolonged isolation. Plans have also been introduced to support the city's economy, which has been hit hard by restrictions. The announcement in Shanghai on lifting COVID-19 restrictions came as official figures showed yesterday that new daily coronavirus cases fell to 122 from 170 over the previous 24-hour period. It was followed by a 50-point plan aimed at revitalizing Shanghai's economy, which before the lockdown was worth more than $600 billion. The new measures include reducing some taxes for car buyers, speeding up the issuance of local government bonds, and fast-tracking approvals of building projects. Under the plans, drivers who switch to an electric vehicle will be able to claim a $1,500 subsidy. And that's all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.